Ms. Jackson coming to you with another video.
Okay, in this video we're talking about vertical shifts of tangent functions. And remember, vertical shifts move the graph up or down. So a vertical shift will move the graph up or down. And in the standard equation, y equals a tan b of x plus c plus d, d would be the vertical shift. So if we're looking at the first example here, y equals tan x plus 2, then 2 is going to be the vertical shift. So you're going to take this is the parent function here, tan of x, and you're going to shift the graph up 2 units. So that means your asymptotes will stay the same, but your graph, your 3 angles would be shifted up 2 units. So we're going to take a look at this graph. Okay, so if we're looking at the original, or the parent graph, I should say. Remember, this negative pi over 2. This is pi over 2, pi over 4 here, negative pi over 4, positive 1 and negative 1 here, and then 0 at the origin. All right, so my asymptotes are here. There's asymptote here. And remember, at pi over 4 with 1, 0 with 0, and at negative pi over 4 with negative 1. So my graph looks something like this. This is my original parent graph, or we could say parent graph. Now, if I am, I'm going to put y equals tan of x. If I'm looking at y equals tan of x plus 2, then again, my asymptotes are going to stay the same, so they're not going to move because my period doesn't change, so my asymptote is going to stay the same. So I have negative pi over 2, negative pi over 4, 0, pi over 2, and pi over 4. Pi over 4, I did that wrong. Pi over 4, and then pi over 2. So I have asymptotes here. Again, asymptotes here. All right, so if I'm looking at pi over 2, if my x is pi over 2, my y value would be 1 if I'm looking at the original tan graph. But this is telling me take the parent graph and shift it up 2 units. So at pi over 4, instead of being at 1, I'm going to be at 3. Because I'm shifting from 1 up 2 more units. All right, and at 0, I'm shifting up 2, so I will be at 2 on my y. And at negative pi over 4, normally we at negative 1. So you go up 2 units, that will put you at 1. So my graph is going to just be a little elevated, 2 units. So it's going to look something similar to this. This is just a sketch. It's not drawn to scale. And if you wanted to make a t-table, you can make a t-table. So you can take your angles from your original or parent graph, negative pi over 2, negative pi over 4, 0, pi over 4, and pi over 2. And remember, you're going up 2 units. So I'm going to do like my tan x, and I'm going to put plus 2. That means I'm going to move whatever I have for this y up 2 units. So again, this is an asymptote, so nothing's going to change here. So it'll be an asymptote on this side as well. Negative pi over 4, you normally add negative 1. So if you add negative 1, if you add 2 to negative 1, you're going to get 1. And you see from the graph, at negative pi over 4, I'm at 1. All right. You put in 0, you normally add 0 for your tan of 0, 0. If you add 2, that'll be plus 2. At pi over 4 for your original tan graph, you're at 1. You add 2, you're going to be at 3. And at pi over 2, this is an asymptote. So the points that I need to plot would be negative pi over 4, 1, 0, 2, and pi over 4, 3. And you see that we have those points on our graph over here. So that's it. So you have 5 practice problems to do for vertical shifts.